I know there's a whole bunch of people that are just like me, where you want to succeed and you want to make it somewhere in your life, and it's big, and you know that you have a vision, you know you have a dream, you know you were built for more than where you are at right now, but you need the steps to make it to that point. And a lot of times with that comes the struggle of figuring out what is that purpose, what is that final destination, what is it that dream, what is that dream that I need to get to? And then some of you, you know what that dream is, but you need the steps to get there. You don't have the time. There's things that are in the way, there's obstacles, there's a lot that you need to be moved out of the way, or you just need more time. And more, and by the time you get finished with your 9 to 5, or you get finished with your family, or you get finished with whatever it is that are your priorities that you have to take care of, you don't have the energy or you don't have the time left in the day to take care of the next thing that you want to do. Well, that's where I come in, because what I want to encourage you to do is you got to press forward. You got to move forward. You need to build a plan. You need to write it out. Write what it is that you plan on doing with your life. Write what it is that you see yourself doing on the big screen. So, whatever that is, it doesn't have to be a screen. I just use that as a kind of a analogy. But whatever it is, if you want to be an actor, you want to be a writer, you want to be an athlete, you want to be a life coach, a doctor, a nurse, whatever it is, a teacher, an instructor, whatever, you need to find that final goal, that final destination, and write out that picture, that vision that you plan and that you see yourself at one point in your life. And you have to knock out all the limiting beliefs and all the things, the doubts and all the don't haves and all those things that are keeping you from reaching that goal. Forget about them right now. Just imagine that it's a perfect world. Where will you be in a perfect world? Take away, just act like you have all the money you need. Everything is set up. You have all the time you need. What house do you live in? Do you have land? How much land? What's on that land? Who lives in that house with you? What is that relationship like with the people who live in that house with you? What is your relationship like outside of the house with the network of friends or of coworkers, of partners in business, of family? What are those relationships like? What does your bank account look like? How much do you have in there? How much do you bring in doing the thing that you love? And by the way, what is that thing that you love? Write those things out clearly, because once you have those, then you actually have a destination. You have to have a destination. You've heard it before. It's just like trying to map out a location and using GPS to get to it. If you don't know where you're going, you don't have nowhere for your GPS to take you. So you need to know where you're going. Write it out. It seems like one of those things, it's kind of cliche. Like people talk about it all the time, about writing your goals and about putting it down on paper. And it's like one of those things where you imagine it and it's like, it's great. It's nice to do. It's nice to say. But what you want to do is actually take action. So the first step is definitely writing it out and knowing and seeing. You can even pull up a Microsoft PowerPoint or a Keynote on Apple. You can even pull up something and make a slide that shows what your final destination is. It can be pictures of the house, the car, the family, the lot that you live on. It can be pictures of that, the bank account. It can be any of that. You can visualize it if you're better with visuals. But you need to have that clear vision. And it's not just so you can dream about it. It's so you can do something about it. And that's the difference. And I say this a lot, but the big difference maker is there's people who make it and there's people who wish they could make it. Well, the people who made it, they weren't necessarily better than the ones who wish they could make it. They just didn't quit. They decided that they wanted to get to a place, and no matter how many years or how much pain or how much work they had to do to get there, they were willing to do it, and they did. And then they finally got to where they were at. And a lot of people that make it to that point, like they've reached their dream, like they would cry knowing that they're in the place that they finally dreamed of being. Whereas a lot of others dream of something, but it's just that. It's just a pie in the sky. But then you take the same daily routine that didn't get you there, but that got you where you are, and you do that same routine day in and day out, year after year, and you continue to just wish that you were in that other place, and you continue to imagine being in that other place. And a lot of us actually let go of that dream. So you had that dream, you may have written it, but you didn't take any steps to get there, so it just stayed there, and you never took those steps, so it faded. and now you've forgotten about that dream, or you've decided I'm too old, or you've decided I don't have that dream anymore because I can't. It's too hard. I don't have the resources. I don't have the money. I don't have the time. I don't have the energy anymore. I'm not young like I used to be. All those different limiting beliefs. You can call them excuses as well. But it's beliefs that you deeply have that put a lid over how far you can go. You got to let go of those beliefs. You got to let go of those lids that you're putting over everything. And if you're raising kids, you can't be doing this, because now you're showing them to have a lid over their dreams as well. Or you have a lid over your dreams, but you're trying to tell them, that they can be anything. But what are you demonstrating? So you have to let go of the limiting beliefs. You have to recognize that you have them, and you got to dig out of that. You got to dig out of it. You got to put work in. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Once again, with the people who don't quit versus the people who do quit, it takes work. It takes consistent effort. So once you have that dream and that destination already visualized, now the thing is, you got to figure out, how do you move forward towards it? And it's not how do you get there in a few weeks. It's not how do you get there even by the end of the year. Sometimes it might be in 5 years. Sometimes it might be in 10 years. Do you have what it takes to work that hard and to work that consistently? I almost don't want to say work that hard, because it's almost like that's a spooky thing too. Just tell somebody that you have to work so hard. It's almost like you're saying you have to put work over your priorities, which are your family and your relationships. And I don't necessarily believe that myself. I believe you have to work efficiently. It's not how many hours you put in every day. During the hours that you have, how much do you get accomplished? How focused do you stay on the task for the hour a day that you have, or for the 30 minutes a day that you have? If you had only 30 minutes a day for the next year to move towards your destination, what would you do with that 30 minutes of time? Would you get on your phone and scroll around and waste that 30 minutes, and then at minute 29 decide that you need to actually take action towards your destination? Or would you put that whole 30 minutes into deep focused work? And then the thing is, what work are you going to do during that time? And that's where the planning comes in. Once you know what your final destination is, you work backwards, or you can even work towards it, but you have to figure out what steps do you need to accomplish. And a lot of those steps are figuring out how to become a better you in order to get to where you're trying to go. Sometimes you're not built for that thing that you want to be doing by the end of the year. You haven't built yourself up enough to be able to handle that type of strain or that type of responsibility. And you just haven't admitted that to yourself. And you don't want to do the work that it takes to be built for that. So sometimes it's just self-development. It's, do you have discipline? Can you put that 30 minutes of time that's focused into what you want to accomplish? Can you put that 30 minutes to work every day for the next week? Can you do that? And then can you do it for 2 weeks? Can you do it for 3? Can you do it for a month? And then while you're doing the work that it takes, can you also document that? Do you have a way of tracking the work, the effort that you're putting in? Do you have a checklist? Do you have a way of saying, okay, I've done that. Now I need to move on to this. Okay, I've done this. Now I need to do those. Okay, I've done those. There's levels to this, right? It's work. But it doesn't have to be a bunch of work. It just needs to be focused work. And it also needs to be planned. It needs to be directed work. So I think I've given enough information right now to call it kind of a success for now. But think about those steps, and then the next time I want to talk a little bit more in depth about how to line those steps up, how to put together that action plan, how to have an accountability system around you to make sure that you fulfill those tasks to get to that destiny, because it's a mindset thing. Thinking has to be switched. It has to be switched on, and it has to be driven with purpose. I'll talk to you soon.